I was deafened as a child, so I didn't have the opportunity to go to an important college somewhere up north in the vicinity of Boston. But I propose to explore some of the terribly odd behavior that we're getting from the Black Oak Crimson sect of this notorious university, private school, you know, in the area of Cambridge, Massachusetts, for droogs of Spike Oldby, where Tracy Chapman got points hopping around in the subway. In order to explain the really very odd behavior we're getting from Harvard's Black Oak Crimsons, you have to understand who Will Zell is. First, what they say he is an honorary the African warrior, modeled on Joseph Goebbels, who is the leader of the Jewish Defense League of Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, where Pittsburgh is. That's what the notorious Black Oak Crimsons of Harvard say Will Zell is. Let's talk just a brief minute about who he is, what is relatively known about him. He was in the Gurdjieff Cluck and the Society for Human Ecology associated with John Stockwell and the CIA in Mount Desert Island, Maine, where the Jackson Immunogenetic Laboratories were, where he worked, living in South Goldsboro with John Archer, who was working with Penis Gabriel on their big project. He lived in Easton, PA, and he spoke in advance about the plan to transform the human race by injecting the blood. He was in the Gurdjieff Cluck known as Northione Forest in Allentown, Pennsylvania, with Walter Hodorowski, who I met when Robert Fripp invited me to a Claymont in West Virginia, where I met an associate of Gurdjieff from the occupied Paris, when Gurdjieff was doing stunts and tricks for the Nazis. And Franz Ouspensky, I guess. Gurdjieff was an inspiration for Ouspensky. So Zoe is on the secret team of the Gurdjieff Society. The King Crimson jumps down from the tables they dance on holding pee-pee and spray. And he went to school with McGarvey. He was an upperclassman at Tyler Art School with McGarvey and a woman named Daya, who called me to announce John Lennon's action in the screenplay. Daya was a namesake of Diamond de Gaulle. This was 78 was when I met her. She gave me Time Must Have a Stop to read, which was a film by the man who played JFK in PT 109 and starred in the premiere episode of Outer Limits. You know, we now take control of your television sets. It was delayed for Kennedy's state funeral and went in a private plane to circle the World Trade Centers and watch the big deal that they had set up with Diagoras and them. She gave me a book that he made into a movie to read that in 1978. So Zoe was in this combine, but the African Warriors of Harvard Crimson say he's a Jewish Defense League leader who identifies with Joseph Goebbels in his correspondence and had prior knowledge of AIDS. So we know some of the bizarre behavior that comes from the Obama Cornel West scene, who helped Netanyahu and Thorles pull this stunt, and now want to bemoan on behalf of the poor people of Gaza who they betrayed. And they've done a beautiful monkey wrenching job. None of those people in Gaza who I have cried terrible tears for will give me the time of day. Because the Seattle queers are hated by the Muslims, and Muslims are hated by the Seattle queers. And so if they have the same enemy, ha 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 ha, say the odd black crimsons of that Paramount School up north, towards Boston. So evil Michael Reagan wants his favorite scene some more, and he's looking for a way to get to it. And he's beating around the bush. We're doing one of these I think you know what I'm looking for queer bait numbers, because I know what he's always looking for. He's always looking for his favorite scene some more. So he cites things, puts me places I never was, doing things I didn't do, holding me hostage. Now, when we look at the hostage crisis in Palestine, we find a tremendously talented, able, wise, generous doctor, a physician, who was taken into custody, tortured, and murdered just a few weeks ago. Michael Reagan is so crazy, so driven with drool, like his sadistic old man, for his favorite scene, that he will sacrifice anything and anybody to get to his favorite scene some more. Getting me killed is nothing to him. We look at the people that he demands information about in the public circuit. Sugar Bear is named for Sugar Funeral Parlor. He's 7 foot tall. The only person I've ever seen who resembled him was with Leni Riefenstahl in Africa, Hitler's filmmaker. And lo and behold, these walrus people who use the name of Ronnie and Casper and Jimmy C, like Reagan, Weinberger, and Jimmy Carter, had Sugar Bear with Leni. We won't say what Leni, but they were together. And Sugar Bear threatened to kill me, and he could have if he'd gotten his hands on me. I was hiding in a house where I was very unsafe and subjected to horrible imagery by Ono's coterie and depredations you would never believe, and forced to use unbelievable, damaging narcotics, forced, mimic, ridiculed, and battered, till I complied, beginning at the age of 9 years old, which Michael Reagan is drooling to hear more about. And he said he changed his mind because he remembered that I let him sleep in my house before we moved in. Think of all of the overtones of this Gilgamesh episode. They demanded to know, the Harvard Crimsons, if the black man slept with your mama. I might not kill you. If the black man sleeps with the symbol of life, with Zygoto, I might not kill you. If you think you're good enough for a Trumpy 2 Milanese virgin, I will kill you unless you give me Michael Reagan's favorite scene some more. Did your sister sleep with the black man? I might not kill you. Michael Reagan has me in a situation that he wants to hear. I was instrumental. A crooked old sign about to fall from a rusty screw that Miles Kirshner insisted he wanted. He had stolen a flag from George Washington's memorial. Is that my fault too, Michael Reagan? Or is he your attorney for Mount Desert Island in your favorite scene? That's what I think. The reason Kirshner wanted the 7-Eleven sign wasn't to melt down for Ukraine bullets. It was because he has a gang that 7-Eleven symbolizes. GK, 7th and 11th letter of the alphabet. Government killers. Greg Carl, Pope Carl, the famous Pope Carl. From 7-Eleven and George Washington University, this thief from the Shulman Zionist gang, who was Michael Reagan's attorney, number 2 man. He always sat at the wall at the University of Pittsburgh where he was number 2 attorney. Number 1 was Albert, who lived in an exterminator building on Baum Boulevard. The number 1 attorney of University of Pittsburgh was named Albert, and he lived in an exterminator building on Baum Boulevard. Number 2 would sit on the wall saying, I just hate Arabs. I don't know why I hate them, but I just hate Arabs. Did Hamas brainwash him? I don't know, but he's welcome at the University of Pittsburgh, and I am not. His gang, it's the Netanyahu gang from Michael Reagan's favorite scene, who had me in D.C. when Reagan wanted me in D.C. so he could come out and wave to me and tell me in personal address that there was no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes. In other words, the master of Hollywood was up to something. So now we get to the bottom of the Harvard Black O Crimsons. Spike Oldley says, no, Donald Trump is a better man than you. He's my friend, and so was Reagan. You better give Michael Reagan his favorite scene some more. 7-Eleven is a drug union cult. Can you see why I wanted to get the hell out of Pittsburgh and how sick they are? Michael Reagan is a sick, demented, fascist weirdo.